here are my flashcards. Here is my slideshow. That's the end of the slideshow. Here's a start. All right. This is my audience. Say hello, John.
Hello.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to position the camera using a banana. Should be good. Sorry for the sound if it sucks. Back to the beginning. Got my cards in order here. John, are you ready with the timer?
I am totally ready. Alright. Starting now.
Alright, so for my informative speech topic today, I'm going to inform you of something that I find both very interesting but also terrifying. The reason for that is I have something called thalassophobia, which is the fear of open water. So the picture does nothing for me, it's just a picture, but definitely don't want to actually be there. So, somewhat surprising then that my speech topic is 3 marine biomes. So, let me first get into what a biome is because I chose that specifically. So biome is both the living and non-living things in the area. So stuff like plant life and the animals, but also things like the water depth, the light level, the salt level in the water, all that kind of stuff. And then I also said marine, which is specifically in the ocean. So no fresh water, no lakes, no rivers, none of that, just in the ocean. And so, you can see, wrong way, you can see here, just like I said, this is kind of dividing the ocean into different levels here. I'm going to be talking specifically about 3 biomes. So those 3 biomes are going to be estuaries, which you'll find right around here, coral reefs, which will be about here, and the open ocean, which is going to be over way deep. So, first topic I found after doing a lot of research is estuaries. So according to the Gale Encyclopedia of Science by Bill Friedman, estuaries are either coastal bays, sounds, river mouths, salt marshes, or mangroves. And they're characterized by a mixture of fresh water, as you can see here, river meeting salt water into the ocean. And so this creates a unique kind of water that is called brackish water, which is just a fancy way of saying it's part salt water, part fresh water. And so, according to Concepts of Biology by Fowler, Roosh, and Wise, in estuaries you'll find specific invertebrates like, as you can see here, clams and mussels that are wanting to be specifically in that brackish water. And according to Water, Science and Issues by Robert Stittney, you'll also find specific marine life like these fish here, the red drum and the striped bass, that have adapted specifically to live in this brackish water. So, moving on, we have the coral reef, which occurs exclusively in warm water at low depth levels. Or excuse me, at high depth levels. So according to the Marine Biome, an online exhibit from the University of California Museum of Paleontology, coral reefs are comprised of coral. And coral is a unique life form, which is a symbiotic relationship between both plant life and animal tissue that has come together to form something that's not quite either of the two. And without it, coral reefs really wouldn't be a thing. So in coral reefs, there's very little plant life, but you get a wide mix of animal life, ranging from something like octopi, fish and sharks, invertebrates like crabs, and even things like sea stars, sea urchins. You'll find all of those in a coral reef. Now, moving on to the open ocean, or according to Animal Sciences by Elliot Richmond, the pelagic zone, which ranges from one shore to the next, is commonly referred to as just the ocean biome. So in the ocean biome, at the surface, there's very little plant life, but you do get a lot of animal life, such as much larger fish than you find anywhere else, like the tuna, and even some marine mammals, like dolphins and whales. Now also, in the ocean biome, you see the ocean floor, also referred to as the benthic zone. In the benthic zone, you get a wide mix of plant and animal life, things like seaweed, sea anemone, sea sponges, sea worms, which were too gross to add a picture, and sea slugs. So, moving on to the abyssal zone, which is in very deep water, occurs between the surface of the water and the ocean floor. So according to concepts of biology, the abyssal zone is characterized by very low light levels leading up to an eventual complete lack of light, very high pressure due to the depth of the water, and freezing temperatures that only a few living things can survive. Those living things including certain invertebrates, like the spider crab seen here, and some specific fish that have adapted to live in certain depths like that. Very famously, the anglerfish you probably know from Finding Nemo has adapted to life. But also, you might know the blobfish, as he's been commonly called. When we see him out of the water, he looks like this, very weird looking, very funny. But when he's actually in the water at the right depth, that's the same fish on the left there. So, as we see that, obviously you can see that he's adapted to life at that depth. In terms of plant life though, very, very little, nothing worth mentioning. So in terms of plant life, or rather in the place of plant life, we see certain microorganisms like bacteria form the basis of the food chain by absorbing energy from certain deep sea thermal vents, conducting a process very similar to photosynthesis. They will again form the basis of the food chain. And that is the end of the slideshow. So, I just want to bring up a wonderful quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt that goes, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." It's a beautiful quote, but it's totally wrong. The ocean is a scary, scary place, but after having informed you of many biomes from estuaries to coral reefs to the open ocean, hopefully you understand it a little bit better and therefore can not only be not so scared of it, but also appreciate it a little bit. So, the end.